Well, you know, it's a silly season when you start seeing people put silly decorations on their cars. And every year there seems to be a challenge to have a decoration on the car that wasn't seen the year before. Well, let's make a custom little decoration which I know the children are going to love. By mashing together some candy cane Christmas car decorations and a knockoff Angry Bird plush, we're going to make an awesome Christmas decoration that's going to really be a head turner in your neighbourhood. And I can guarantee to you that by next year, everyone will want to have an Angry Birds Christmas car decoration. Well, hello, Christmas time is not a time to get angry, it's a time to get creative. Have you noticed everyone's got either reindeer antlers or candy canes in their cars to decorate their cars during Christmas time? Well, let's do something with those birds up the back there and those there. What about if we mash the two together and make something like that to put on the car? Wouldn't that be Angry Bird awesome? And I've got two versions of this, and I'm going to show you just how quick and simple this is to do. Well, here in Australia, you can pick these up for between $4 to $12. The same with the candy canes. I'm noticing more of these this year than really the antlers. And the birds up the back here, the red bird, this is a knockoff. It's a Santa red bird. These are about $4 each. In my experimentations, there were two totally different processes I've used to connect the candy cane to the Angry Bird. Let me show you the more complex one. And this is one, if you're familiar with hot melt glue and doing a little bit of cutting, it's a good one to do. Basically, you cut off the top of the candy cane, so the candy cane would have been there. And there's a plastic insert inside these that makes them stiff that goes all the way up to the top here. You coat that stick and you coat where you've cut here with hot melt glue, and I mean lots of hot melt glue. And you make a small incision under the bird so you can get that plastic, there's a plastic stiffener in there, up inside Angry Bird. So the plastic sniffer actually goes right up to the top here, and then you basically hold it on there. When hot melt glue is set and it's gone off and gone firm, that bird is totally connected to that candy cane. It will not come off. It's a really nice bond, and what I like about this way is the bird's nice and plump, and you've got basically a stick, nice stick there, candy cane stick, and right on the top is a red Angry Bird. And if you're competent with hot melt glue and a bit of cutting, that's a really good method to do. But if you're lazy and time poor like me, there's a really simple method you can use by using cable ties and a bit of very clever tying of the cable ties to adhere Angry Bird to this candy cane. There's no cutting of the candy cane needed, and I think in this video I'm going to show you this very simple method. Well, I'll come in and do a bit of unpacking, unboxing, whatever I call it here. And it's funny, I live in Australia and Christmas is in summertime. I think a lot of people would be freaked out by the fact of having summer Christmas, and I think most people would associate Christmas with cool weather, but all I've ever known is stinking hot weather. And what's really weird is because my heritage is English, we have like English meals in the middle of the summer heat. It's quite weird. This crazy candy button, I suppose you could tie it onto the front of your car, but what would look even better if we're going for the whole Angry Birds look is to tie one of these guys onto the front of the car. Well, I've lined the candy canes up as they'd be on the car. I don't know whether you have the curly bit in or out, but I'm having them in, and I'm going to come in and tie in the Angry Bird into this spot here. And I'm thinking that ribbon there tells you that that's the front of the candy cane. To explain the process here, I'm basically going to tie this in, and we're going to take advantage of the hole here, and Redbird's tail is going to go through the hole, and then we're going to tie Redbird's tail to the back. So I've grabbed a cable tie. I'm using nice long ones just because I've got them, and I'm going to come in and put this on here. Can you hear the cicadas outside? We've had a massive cicada season this year. I mean massive. It's almost been to the point of I'm just totally over it. Makes it very hard to make videos when you've got, one of the loudest insects in the world screeching their heads off outside. I'm going to pull this not all the way tight because we need it to be a bit loose, but when we're totally finished, we'll be pulling it very tight. So we're just leaving it there like that. It's not fully tight. You'll see why next. Okay, there's Redbird, and what we're going to do is I'm going to feed his little black tail there, his tail feather, through the hole there. There we go. There's actually plenty of meat that we're going to pull through here as well. And that's going to be the front, present front to the candy cane. And the next step is pretty simple. Okay, I've got a second cable tie here, and watch very carefully. It's very simple. I'm going to put that cable tie underneath the one there that we've already got going around. I'm going to pull the tail through, because that's what we're going to bite onto here. I'm going to come around and I'm going to zip up this cable tie. Well, don't you love the sound of cable ties? I mean, who invented cable ties? They must be an absolute billionaire. And what we're going to do is, it's really important here to pull as much meat through as we possibly can, and start pulling that tight. Okay, I've just pulled that cable tie tight. It's going looped underneath that first cable tie I put on, and it's around the tail there, tail feather. And now what I'm going to come and do is find the tail of the first cable tie we put on, and I'm going to pull that tight and basically get it nice and tight there, so it's all getting locked up, and go and double check that second one. That's very close to being done, you know. So okay, both those cable ties are done super tight. I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut the tails off. Where's the other one? The other one's here. Well, you know what, that's sort of it. It's sort of pretty simple, and we like simple, and we like fast, and we like cheap, and we like nasty. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could come in and put another cable tie up through the loop of his little Christmas hat there, and I mean, like, loop it around, go through the hole again, and that would pin up the top of his head, so he's got a bit more of a, what do you call it, angry attitude. But I'll just leave it like that, because I'm pretty sure when he's up there on the car, he's going to be blown around and doing all sorts of crazy Angry Bird stuff. Well, sure, there's one done. There's an Angry Bird on a candy cane. Don't forget, there's two. So there's an Angry Bird, there's two cable ties, and a little bit of time, the job will be done. Well, I took the Angry Bird out for test drive in the car, and what I found is this is actually fairly flexible. There's a plastic sort of pole that goes right up inside this candy cane. So if you're driving along, the bird actually flexes back. And then as you slow up, the bird corrects itself up again and starts to look angry. I think if you want the really simple method, just use the two cable ties and tie it into the candy cane. But if you want to make something which looks a little bit more, well, I suppose, upright, and the bird's not flopping around as much, I'm going to show you a little simple mod. Find yourself some plastic chopsticks. Generally $2 shops have this stuff hiding away. Get your bird you're going to modify, and he's facing forward here, so I'm going to go down to the bottom here. Okay, that's forward. This is reverse. I'm just going to put a little black mark so I know that's the back side. I'm going to pull out this plastic, what do you call it, stiffener, which isn't really stiff, but there's actually very little holding this thing in. And I'm surprised these things just don't fly off. It takes out a bit of fluff and you'll understand how it gets held in there. It's just that there. Those little hooks hold it all together. It's really weird, and there's nothing else on it. So get that plastic spike out. And remember the little black dot I marked? Well, that's the rear of this flimsy plastic spike. I'm actually just going to hot melt glue in the chopstick into that section. Oh, and hot melt glue is hot, but it's good. It is always a pretty good bond when you use it. And you've got to work fairly quickly here. Hate working down through a camera, but I'm doing my best I can. Okay, I have got that chopstick in position. Let that glue set. I'm also going to run a fillet of glue down the bottom piece here, because this is I think the really important part to get bonded correctly. Once the glue is all set, remembering the chopstick is on the rear side of that thing, we're going to get our Angry Bird candy doodah, and I've used that ribbon as a front indicator, so the bird is orientated to the front like that. Just a case of re-threading this back up inside. And I mean, it's one of the things you should have done this as a first procedure, but this is optional. I really want to emphasize the fact that it's optional, and it's quite easy to get it up through that cable tie that I've got bound up here somewhere. It's a matter of feeling. I can feel the chopstick there, and I can just coax it into going through. I've got it going through. There, it's all the way home. And considering now we've seen this plastic insert and how lightweight the thing is actually attaching, it's just using a couple of hooks, hoping that the thing doesn't fly off. Let's just pull this back a bit, and let's just put a whole heap of hot melt glue here, and that is going to stop this thing from flying away, I hope. Don't you love hot melt glue? And a matter of just closing it up and waiting for it to, well, set. I'm also going to come in and put extra glue here, because I just don't want my Angry Bird to flutter away and find a new home. So there you go, there's Red Bird, and he's on a much stiffer candy cane now. It doesn't take long to do that. It's purely optional, that's the last time I'll say that. Anyway, some people would mind, you travel along and the bird keels over like that. But if you want your bird to be more presenting upright, well, you need to put a chopstick in there. Oh, these are great fun. I took them out for a drive to make the video of the GoPro on the car, and they do command attention. They look great. They look so different because everyone's so used to seeing candy canes or reindeer antlers, but no one's got Angry Birds on top there. And yeah, do this and have a really good Christmassy Angry Birdie theme going on your car. Well, I put a Red Bird on the front of the car, did the same thing. I clumped the tail feather together, put a cable tie around that. Then looped another cable tie around the H, it's a Honda this car, and there's Redbird on the front. And up on the car, the Redbird candy canes are on, we're ready for a test drive. Well, for me, the best litmus test for something that I do is when I show my children, and when my children saw these crazy candy cane Angry Birds on Mummy's car, they got really excited. In fact, they said, "Dad, let's go for a drive." But I'm pretty sure this is just the tip of the iceberg. You could go and put a whole number of different themed plushes and add them to your Christmas car decorations. I know recently I came across a whole lot of knockoff Minecraft plush. I bet you they look pretty cool up on top of those candy canes as well. I can guarantee to you this little modification has people talking, it has people looking around at your car, and it has people smiling. And just think, when you're trying to get that car parking spot and it's so busy around Christmas time, you've got Redbird on your side and you can have that bit of Angry Bird attitude to find a parking spot. Well, good luck if you're going to go ahead and attempt what I've just showed you. Remembering I've tried to keep it as simple as possible, and it's also very inexpensive to pull off. But best of all, it's a little bit of Christmas joy which is customized, and people will enjoy looking at it. Well, I better finish up this video, and if you've lasted till the end of this video, I'm going to thank you, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas.